Right, going back to look for some more stocks, see what I can find. Again, I'm short Shopify with a put debit spread of 135 put. I was long the 135 put and short the 133 put. It's moving up against me right now. And this market is starting to bounce. Again, we're kind of waiting for a bounce here today. We're getting a little bit right now. You'll probably see some of the consumer defensive stock starting to pull back a little bit as the market starts to flatten out a little bit. Shopify bouncing up pretty strong here now. So I got to be careful of that. It's right up to the VWAP. Still in the gap. SPY trying to bounce, Q's trying to bounce. Ari pointing out SBET as a trade, not good on the intraday. A good intraday, not good in the swing. It's one of the flight to either stocks, treasuries. Yeah, SBET is a very volatile stock. For such a low price stock, it can move around a lot. Sharplink Gaming, it's called, gambling site. Up today about 89 cents, which is almost 5%. So fairly big move in it. Again, it's pretty volatile. It's trading at $19.29, and it's got an ATR of 279. It used to have an ATR way up, around $28, but right now it's got an ATR of 279 and it's trading for $1.93. So, $1.90 would actually be a 10%. So that's about 16-17% move on the ATR, which is pretty volatile. Again, market moving up here, so I've got to watch my Shopify. Shopify doesn't. It's moving up with the market pretty strong, and I might just take it off here. I don't have a very big loss on it, so I'll probably take it off. I don't care for this jump right now. Again, I'm going to watch it. If it falls back below the VWAP, I'll stay in it. Again, it's moving up with this market bounce. See the market bounce right here, but again, the SPY and the Qs have not got to the VWAP yet, so I'm not holding out a lot of hope on this bounce that it's going to continue for too long, but we'll see. Notice that the market internals are starting also to trend up a little bit here. All right, I closed my Shopify, put debit spread for the time being. I'm not going to stick in it. I took an 8-cent loss on it. 8-cent loss on Spotify. It may head back down again, and I may put it back on again, but I don't like the market internals moving up. We're getting a decent bounce here. We still haven't got above, on the SPY and Qs, we haven't got above the VWAP yet. So I'm just kind of being cautious right now. Again, it's a small loss for me, and I can re-enter it later if I want to. Again, I don't like the fact that I'm just trading a gap fill on a bullish stock. So that lends me to have some pause as far as staying in that trade. So that's why I took it off. And I can get back into it again. Again, it's a small enough loss that I'm not really concerned about it. Just kind of watch here for now. I'm going to see what this market does. Again, we're getting this is the first significant bounce we've had today in the Qs or the SPY. Okay, so the Q's bouncing right up here to the VWAP here. So keep an eye here. Again, I took my sharp trade off for a small loss. I lost 8 cents on this thing. I don't like the fact that the market is bouncing, and also that the market internals are showing strength. And Shopify would not be my favorite short, because I try to take it for an intraday trade, but I wouldn't take it for an overnight trade, so therefore I'm out of it. There's plenty of other shorts out there that would be potential decent shorts. All right. It's about 11:19 right now. So market, very big sell-off today in the techs, the SPY. The Dow was pretty much flat, and the market, the consumer defensive stocks were very strong this morning. Procter and Gamble, Altria, Coca-Cola, all these stocks were very strong this morning. And they're starting to slip a little bit right now. Again, we've been through this before on these sector rotations, where they used to take months to do sector rotations. They do them in days now, and this was a big sector rotation out of Q's yesterday and today, and into the consumer defensive stocks and some of the healthcare stocks. But you got to be careful, because they can flip just as fast. Though I'm really not anxious to dive into any long stocks right now as far as the techs are concerned. Nvidia looks pretty decent though. This pulled down and it held up pretty nicely during this big drop. Some of the stocks you can see here is AVGO, that's Broadcom, another stock like Nvidia that's in this chip sector. Mara, which is a crypto, is starting to move up here. MU, another chip stock. Micron is CRWV, that's CoreWeave. Actually a pretty hard pullback today. Amazon, which has also, so a lot of chip stock, a lot of the techs is trying to bounce, but this is not a very big bounce here. There's SBET that Ari was just talking about. A lot of red stocks in here though. You can see the red stocks, but they're in the cascading up list. Here's some stocks that are cascading down that are green. And again, what you're going to see here is consumer defensive stocks starting to sell off now as the market starts to bounce up. There's Procter and Gamble, Bristol Myers coming in. Again, these are the ones that were very strong this morning. So if you're trading these, you can't stay in them very long. CL is Colgate Palmolive. These are all consumer defensive stocks, except not ABBV. ABBV is pretty good here right now, pretty strong. ABB medical stock. Okay. Back to the scans and see what I can find. Let's see if we have any other questions. Terry, if SPY rolls over at the VWAP, would you consider a short? It probably, yeah. I gotta see some this momentum start to pay off. This is a pretty big move in momentum here right now on the SPY, and the triple Qs too. The triple Qs get very close to the 50-day moving average on the daily chart. So they didn't get to it, but they get close to it. SPY is still a good long ways away. So we'll see. But you got to wait for your momentum here to reverse as well. So be cautious. I think short is the way to go, but I would be careful here. I'm not anxious to jive into any longs right here, even though that is a long setup on the SPY super system. But this here, it's so red today that you're trading against the trend. So again, you have to be very careful on it. But for scalping, it's fine. Shai pointing out NVIDIA get above the VWAP and is showing some relative strength. Yes, it is showing some relative strength. So we'll see what the market does here now that it's above the VWAP. The SPY's above the VWAP, and the Qs are above the VWAP. So both of these are getting above the VWAP. Let's see how long they stay there, and see what kind of a bounce we get. Again, I took my Shopify off. I put debit spread on Shopify. I took it off. Getting too strong. Market's getting too strong. I'm out. I took 8 cent loss on it. Okay, nice little move in the SPY right here. Again, good momentum. And you can scalp a SPY super system trade off of that for long, but you got to be very careful because you're trading against the market. So just very, very cautious there. Harry, biotech's been good to you for an investment. It's ALNY. It's about $1 below its all-time high from yesterday. Expensive. Might be reasonable to call debit spread, though the spreads are somewhat wide. Yeah, I don't mind wide spreads on a debit spread if you get your limit price filled. You want to get a good. You want to make sure your limit price is set well below the halfway through the spread. In other words, way less than 50% of the spread that you're taking. Been very consistent. Yeah, it's a beautiful AL. I'll just show you the chart for ALNY that Ari's talking about. That's see this pattern here. Big volume here on this earnings, right? And just moving up, and it kept moving up even though it was pretty far away from the 8, but it kept moving up. Then it kind of compressed, and now it's moving up again. This is a really nice pattern for a stock. Again, $461. This is not cheap. But that's a pretty nice move in ALNY, and no earnings till the end of October. SPY come through the VWAP and pushing up just slightly. Ari points out it's forming a doji sandwich too. Yeah, I guess. It is kind of a doji sandwich. To me, it's got to be more obvious than this. It's got to be a bigger candle than that. A big candle like this or a big candle like this. This is more of a good doji sandwich right there. This is kind of a small move. I mean, we've almost probably equaled that candle already today. So obviously, it's everybody may have a slightly different opinion of what's a real doji sandwich or not. I mean, it's just a candlestick setup. That's all it is. About 11:30 right now. Morning, everybody over in YouTube. Very hard sell-off this morning in the market. Big sell-off in the Qs, especially. Tech stocks had a pretty large sell-off this morning. Market trying to bounce here. Now it's had 2 days of selling off in the Qs, yesterday and all of this morning, and it's trying to bounce. But the daily chart's pretty ugly right now. Here's a daily chart of the Qs. It's pretty ugly. It never get down to the 50-day. That looks like where it's headed for, but that's ugly. And the SPY is ugly too. We haven't had this kind of a move in a while. Notice the SPY candle, by the way, is red, and the Q candle is pink, which means the Qs are weaker and they're also breaking down on the compression. Ram Kumar, do you think a quick trade to go long to test SMI Palantir at 152 is okay? To go long Palantir? To test the Palantir at 152. You're talking about the 50-day moving average, I'm suspecting. 152.52. I wouldn't. No, I wouldn't. I mean, you really. I wouldn't touch this right now. I mean, it's too far extended. It's bouncing up. The 50 days going to have resistance. If it gets above the 50, you're planning on having it stay above the 50. But you've got to have some confirmation that it's going to stay above the 50. You're not going to get that today. And you're trading along. Really, basically, you're trying to pick a bottom in a stock as it breaks above the 50-day moving average. You could easily slide right back. I think it's way too risky, in my opinion. I mean, there's other stocks out there to look for. Yeah, there's Spotify there, moving up, and Shopify right here. And I had short, but I get out of that one. It's still moving up. Looking at Lulu as well. We still got Lulu on here, which is down today, but it is bouncing up to the 197, 198 level. You still got 2 days to go on that. Okay, back with some stocks here. SPY, little pop off through the VWAP, and now it's coming drifting back down again. SPY still creeping up here again. SPY super system trade was a decent one right here as it broke through the 3-web, but it's not a big move. But it's good for some money for a quick SPY super system trade. I took some SPY calls. I'm out of them already, but I get in for about $1.75 and out for about $2, which is pretty decent. But I don't have a lot of confidence in this bounce to last. Be nice if it did, but I don't have a lot of confidence in it right now. Still moving up. Market internals are moving up very nicely here right now. Quite a huge difference now in the market internals. If we look at the dollar sign VOLD here, you're gonna see this. Look at this pull down, and look at this beautiful bounce here, right up to the pivot point. But that I don't pay much attention to pivot point on this, but this is a nice reversal here. If I look at the T2104 on my 5-minute chart, here it is coming down, and here it is bouncing right back up again. It's a pretty nice move in the market internals. So we get a lot more buying than selling right now. How long will it last? Who knows? So we'll see what happens now as market starts to flatten out here after a nice little pop. Market internals starting to drop down a little bit. No big moves here now. The SPY bounced up again. Still got some decent market internals and momentum, but the market internals are starting to. I'm watching them on the T2104, and they're starting to fade just a bit. SPY coming down. Q's also watching Lulu to see if we get a little bit of a bounce in Lulu, not very much. Again, I'm out of my shop, which is still continuing to show some strength. How about 20 minutes to 12? See if we have any questions here. Ram Kumar, Palantir. Oh yeah, you were probably just looking at the ticker. Yeah, so that's no. I understand that, Ramcom. I do that all the time. I'll type a symbol in when I'm trying to bring it up in my chart, and I'm bringing it up somewhere else. So some of the consumer defensive stocks are starting to pull back a little bit as the market starts to rally a little bit. I wouldn't call it a rally, but a little bit of a pop at least. We'll see how far it goes. I think a buzzer went off, Ruth.
I heard it.
Okay.
I knew it.
All right.
I just got carried away a little bit out there.
You get carried away. That's hard to believe.
Yeah, I know. That never happens. Alrighty then.
Market's still holding up here. Okay, we get quite a few green candles in a row here now, with no pullback. So this was a fairly strong selling right through here. You notice we've recovered almost all the way back up to the top of this candle here. So we'll see. Again, I'm not anxious to dive into anything right now. I had Shopify on briefly and took it off, took a small loss on it. Short, that's all I've done right now. I did take a SPY super system trade earlier, on the bounce here, but I got out pretty quickly. I made $25 a contract on it. A quarter to 12. SPY and Qs both coming down below the VWAP now, and below the 15. Momentum moving down on both of them. Market internal starting to also come down pretty hard here. So, if you want to take a quick trade on the SPYs or the Qs, this is probably not a bad place to do it for a SPY super system trade. There's the Qs right there, and the SPY right there. Whether it'll continue down is a good question, because right now it's we haven't had but just one red candle pretty much.
We're not there.
Oh, 5 minutes to 12 right now. Market try to pull down here, but it's really not much force. We are getting some pretty nice momentum to the downside. The market internals are definitely switched to the downside as well again. So I think you do have a SPY, a dynamic compression zone here, but it's a decent short setup right here. I took some SPY puts here as we move up toward lunchtime. I took some SPY puts. I'm just looking for a quick trade to the downside here on a SPY super system trade. We'll see if it follows through or not. It's below the VWAP is below the 15. It's also below my 8 exponential on the my TC2000 chart, but just barely. So we'll see. Again, the market internals are bearish. The momentum is bearish. I'm going to give it a little bit of time. Again, just choppy here, choppy market. Again, I'm short the SPY right now, but just kind of watching it pretty closely here. Hey, Freddie. You know, I like Lily. Where's my opinion? It came up, but it's bouncing back. On Lily. Lily, you're talking about now? Not Lulu, right? Lily. What's my opinion on Lily right now? Well, I can't take it long right here. I can't take it long right here. You see how it's above the 8? It's right here, wedged in between these. I mean, this is like no man's land when it's between the 8 and the 15 like that. I mean, it's bouncing back. It's in a gap. Gap fill goes all the way up here, but you want to see it get above this 15 EMA for sure. Until it does that, I can't take it. Once it gets above there, then it's potentially a good long again. Again, watch the market. The market's really not doing much of anything here. Look at how tiny these candles are. Again, I'm short the SPY right now, but I don't know for how much longer. SPY just churning around here. Slightly below the VWAP, but now trying to bounce a little bit. Momentum's pretty weak. Market internals are pretty weak, but the market internals, as I watch them on my TC2000 chart, are actually starting to bounce right now. Yeah, I'm not going to let this thing get above the VWAP or I'll get out. SPY right to the VWAP. Right, I'm probably going to exit the SPY trade here on this candle if it stays above the VWAP. Alright, I'm out of the SPY trade. Took a loss on the SPY super system trade right here on this breakdown. as it came right back up here to the VWAP. Still showing red on the momentum here. My T2104 is showing some bounce. I'm just not going to mess with this right now at lunchtime. I'm not going to mess with this. I'll come back and revisit it later. It's not a very solid breakdown at the moment here. All right, I'm going to get some lunch. It's a little after 12 o'clock, get some lunch. And I'm going to go ahead and shut down the YouTube feed. Thank you, everybody on YouTube today for joining. Appreciate you watching. And we'll be back tomorrow, Thursday, for another session at around 11 o'clock or so. All right, so have a great afternoon.